Welcome back to my channel. And for this vlog, it's going to be a vlog because I think it's going to be a vlog series where I turn this old book into a sketchbook. And what you see right now are the papers. The paper I'm using is actually the Fluid 100% cotton paper. And I have them already scored up and lined up, and I will be discussing that process with you. And then I'm going to be fixing all this up because it's just a jumble mess, and while talking about the process that I went through. Okay, so the first process I did in turning this into a sketchbook is that I measured out with a ruler the dimensions of this book. This book is roughly, as you can see there, 7¼ inches by 4¾ inch, and in centimeters that's roughly 12½ centimeters by 18½ centimeters. So I measure out the book and I write the dimensions there so I don't forget it, and then it's the estimation of how many sheets I'll need to fill in this sketchbook, in this book, for me to maintain this space, because you really do need to maintain the spine of the book. When I decided that I was going to use 100% cotton papers on this, I have these two sketchbooks here, sorry for the glare, that are made from 100% cotton. Each of them is about 16 sheets each. And I put this like this and this like this, and it looks to about half. And so when I measured up with the second one, which is another one that's 100% cotton, it looks to be about 32. And based on that estimation, that's how I estimated how many sheets, oh gosh, it's raining, how many sheets I will need in this. Okay, that is weird. The day is bright out and a heavy rain just unloaded on us. But yeah, so there is where we were at. The next thing I did was prep the paper with the dimensions set aside. Now I have the Fluid 100 paper by the roll, so I measured out a diameter or a width of 7½ inches, and then I just cut it, knowing that this is going to be the 7½ inches, and then I could just measure the 9½ inches here, because when I fold 4 3/4, roughly it's going to be together, the entire length of the page has to be at least 9½, and that's what I did. The next thing I did after cutting the strips of 7½ out from the paper roll is I did the measurements for the 9½ along the sides, and figured out that I would get and score those. So that's why some of them have score lines here. These ones are from the decal edge, from the natural decal edge of the paper, which is not even, by the way. And after I finish that, I score that and cut it, and then I fold it. So now this should equal at least 4 3/4 inch. Each of these are about that. So what I'm doing now with these, because as you can see they're still puffy thanks to it being on a roll, I am going to leave these for a while, maybe 24 to 48 hours before I work with them, so I don't have to fight this natural distortion it has, so I could make it straight like all the others. So that's what I'm doing. I'm just putting them together. Okay, and I said 32, but when I scored my papers, I discovered that I was only going to get 30 paper in the roll, 30 sheets, I mean, which I think is okay. So here we go. Here is all 30 sheets of them. all scored and ready to go. This is going to be, I can't say I've made books this big before, but I've never bind all these individual pages like this before, because that's the job now that I have in front of me, is to do the binding of all this so that they can fit in here. So now I'm measuring up and see if it is exactly what I need it to be. And it's supposed to be this end here on this. Perfect. And I'm supposed to have at least a 1/2 inch from the cover. So yeah, it's lined up with the cover, and see there's about a 1/2 inch, which means I've judged it perfectly. So yeah, so when this goes into the spine here, it's supposed to equal one of these pages here. Yes, see? There. Okay, let me show you guys what I'm looking at. I'm looking at this. It lines up perfectly with that page there, and it lines up perfectly on this side as well. So yeah, I judged it correctly. And it's about the same thickness of the book, as you can see. So that means it will fit the spine perfectly. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to put some clamps on these, and I'm going to put them between my bookshelf, between some heavy books, so that it can keep this shape, so it's when it's time for binding, they don't it's not fighting me. See, because if I do this, if I let it go, it's just gonna pop open. So I'm gonna put this between some heavy books on my bookshelf so that it can keep the shape, so when binding time comes for me to sew these together, it's a much easier process. So this is going to take a couple days for these to press straight. And yeah, so we're done with this. This is stage 1 complete, and stage 2 would be the pressing of these papers. Stage 3, the binding. So let's go into stage 2, and I'll definitely be filming stage 3.